India, with the largest concentration of cases, became the next target for the warriors. But with its massive population, they would need other strategies for success. They recruited thousands of Indian workers to help them find cases. By 1973, they mounted a house-by-house campaign that was so well coordinated, they visited 100 million homes in just 6 days. But what they discovered alarmed them.
In one state where we were getting about 500 cases a week, suddenly the searchers found 11,000 cases in just this 1 week. It was a very black day indeed. There were those who said, you'll never get rid of smallpox in India.
Worse, the disease could easily spread among such a highly mobile population.
In the 1970s, 1% of the Indian population was on a train at any one time. And so you're thinking of millions of people moving around the state.
To try to overcome this problem, they created surveillance and vaccination posts at train stations, and they stood watch at markets and other gathering places.
There is a goddess by the name of Sitala Mata in Hindu mythology, to whom villagers would make offerings for her to heal them if they were ill with smallpox. It seemed that it'd be a good idea to post people at the Sitala Mata shrines to learn where smallpox cases were occurring.
They also went into the countryside, where farmers worked long hours in distant fields. To get them to come into the villages to be vaccinated, Faggy enlisted the help of a creative chief.
He said, I'll get them back. And with that, he had his drummer began pounding on a talking drum. People came flowing into the village. Almost as fast as people move by you, you can vaccinate them. After 2 hours, we'd finally finished everyone. I said, I am very impressed. How do you have such control over your people? He said, I told them on the talking drum to come to the village market if they wanted to see the tallest man in the world. And I guess I looked that way to him since I'm 6'7".
By 1975, after 3 years of hard work, India was smallpox-free. This had been the hardest battle of all. The warriors could now smell victory. By 1977, the only cases being reported were in Somalia, in East Africa, mostly among nomadic families who were hard to track down. Later that year, 2 cases appeared in a group of nomads camped near the city of Merka. The victims were children, and a smallpox volunteer, Ali Malmarlin, was sent to bring them to the Merka hospital. Ali himself had been vaccinated, so he didn't fear helping the children. By the time Ali reached them, one child was dying, but he helped the other survive. And anyone who had contact with the children was vaccinated, so there were no more cases. But then the unthinkable happened. Ali Marlin himself came down with smallpox.
Ali was immunized, but he didn't have a take. So the immunization was not successful, and as a result, he was unprotected.
While Ali lay in bed fighting for his life, there were no other cases in Somalia or anywhere else in the world. Could the virus that had plagued millions for centuries finally be confined in just one human body in a remote hospital in Somalia?
For weeks thereafter, we held our breath.
When Ali Marlin finally emerged from the hospital, little did he know that he would become the last victim of this terrible disease, the endpoint in a smallpox chain of person-to-person transmissions stretching back thousands of years. The warriors had won.
I almost had the feeling like having been a soldier in a war, suddenly there was no war. And you'd miss the camaraderie of your colleagues working out there.
This was the greatest public health accomplishment to date. Yes, smallpox eliminated a disease from the world. That disease is no longer present.